Hi, this is Muho. I will continue with the My Teacher's House series soon. Today I want to share a question that I've been asking over and over again in the German section of the Antaji homepage. You might have noticed that most of the time that I'm uploading a video to YouTube, I'm not only uploading one in English, but actually three: one in German, one in English, one in Japanese. And most of the time I'm talking about completely different topics. So in English I've been continuing this My Teacher's House series, and maybe some of the German viewers also look at the English part, but I could imagine that most of the English speakers have no idea what I'm talking about in the German part. What I've been doing in the German part since the start of this year is I've been uploading German translation of a book by a Japanese philosopher. His name is Nagai Hitoshi. It's this book here, Kodomo no Tame no Tetsugaku Taiwa, Philosophy for Children, 40 Dialogue, it says on here. Not the best English, but well, that's what you often have. Also with nice illustrations. Each of these 40 dialogues is it's a dialogue between a 14-year-old kid and his cat. Name of the cat is Penetre. We don't know the name of the kid, and they talk about things like, is it really necessary to go to school? What's the meaning of life? Is planet Earth really round, or is that something that we only think? Was Newton right when he discovered gravity, the law of gravitation, and how is it possible that he discovered that when he saw supposedly an apple drop from the tree? Apple had been dropping from trees for so long. How could it be that he discovers something new in that moment? And one question, that's the central question in this book, is, why am I me? Why am I this person? Supposedly, in the beginning, God created 5 different persons. According to the Bible, there was 2, Adam and Eve, but let's say there were 5. All with different bodies, different faces, different names, of course, and different thoughts, different emotions, different consciousness. So let's suppose none of these 5 people that God created in the beginning was me. What would God have needed to do that one of these 5 people would have been me? So what would God have to add so that one of these 5 persons would be me? You could also kind of have that thought experiments that God created 2 different universes with the same 5 people in each of these universes. The only difference between these 2 universes would be that in one universe, Universe A, none of the 5 people is me. Universe B, the same, exactly same 5 people, but one of these 5 people would have been me. So the question is, what's the difference between these 2 universes? From the perspective of any other person, probably even from the perspective of God, there's no difference. It's the same universe with the same people. From my perspective, the difference couldn't be bigger, because in one of these universes, Muho is there, Muho would be there, but it wouldn't be me. So it would be a phantom universe. it wouldn't be there. While the other universe is basically the universe as it is. If one of these 5 people is Muho, it's basically what I have right now. It's reality as it is. So where's the difference? For you, there might not be a difference, but, well, to understand the difference, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you have to ask yourself the question, why am I this person? And where's the difference between the universe I'm living in and a parallel universe where the same person who's watching YouTube right now is also watching YouTube, having the same thoughts in his head at the same time, but that person wouldn't be me. What would be the difference between these 2 universes? And if you understand that difference, you can ask yourself, why am I here? Why am I this person? It's possible to imagine that Muho is there without being me. It's possible to imagine a universe where I don't exist, even though Muho might exist, but I wouldn't exist in that universe. How come that I'm here as this person, as this special person? And yeah, so now I want to give you a koan, a thought experiment. In my mind, this thought experiment is what the case 35 of Mumonkan is all about. Case 35 of Mumonkan is the story of a Chinese girl. Her name in Japanese is Sei. So Miss Sei, when she was young, falls in love with her sweetheart, but her parents don't agree that the two get married. So what she does is she runs away with her sweetheart, and they go to a foreign country and they marry there, and they have children and live together happily. But one day she becomes sick and she asks her husband, can we go back to see my parents? I want to visit with my parents and I haven't been seeing them for so long. And the husband agrees and they go back to see the parents, and then the husband is surprised to find that his wife actually never left home. Actually, she sees her there with her parents and he realizes, my wife has never left home in the first place. But then when he turns around, his wife is by his side. So the question is, which is the real wife? Which is the real Sei? The woman, Sei. Even the husband can't tell the difference of the two. Which one is the real one? And with all koans, it's useless if you ask the question out of a third-person perspective. It's useless to ask if a dog has Buddha nature or not. You have to ask yourself, do I have Buddha nature or not? Do I have Buddha nature or not? And Joshu famously says Mu, which means no, nothing. Which basically means you have no Buddha nature. There's no Buddha nature for you to have. So what do you do? What do you do with that answer? Somebody tells you there's no Buddha nature for you to have. You don't have Buddha nature. What do you do then? What do you do then? You need to have Buddha nature to practice. I mean, that's why we practice, to realize our Buddha nature. So that's how you work with a koan. It's not about the Buddha nature that a dog might have or might not have. And in this case, it's not about the question, well, which of these two women are the real women? So you don't even put yourself into the perspective of the husband. You have to just put yourself into the perspective of the woman. Suppose you met a clone of yourself. Which one would be the real you? And with this koan, you could interpret it as meaning that we all live different personas. So we might have an official persona where we surrender to social norms, and we try to please our parents and our friends and stuff like that. It's kind of the persona that we show, and we have this kind of hidden persona that we don't show, and we maybe use an anonym when we're on the internet, and we live out that secret persona. And then the question, the koan would be, well, which is the real you? Is it the official you that you show to others, or is it that hidden you? Also an interesting question. But I think the real question is about, the real question is the question that I already asked. Let's suppose there's a Muho who's exactly the same as this Muho that's sitting here right now, except that he's not me. Where would be the difference between the real Muho and that imagined Muho? For you, there wouldn't be a difference. You don't know that I'm Muho. You know that my name is Muho, yeah, but you don't know who I am. Even God doesn't know that. God probably, if he exists and if he created me, then God knows exactly what I'm thinking right now. He knows everything that I think and all my secret thoughts and everything. There's one thing that God doesn't know, and that's that I am Muho. He couldn't tell these two worlds apart, the world where Muho is thinking the same stuff, but he's not me, and the world that is this world. Or in time, the question would be, why is today June 19th, 2019? Does God know that today is June 19th, 2019? Probably God doesn't know that, because God is eternal and God sees the whole of history in one instant. God has no way to tell what date there is today. But I know that today is June 19th, 2019. Why is it? And when I asked that question in German, one of the commentators asked back, well, isn't that the same question that you asked already yesterday and day before yesterday? It's always the same question. I mean, it has to be one day, and there can't be an answer. And even if there was, tomorrow you would be asking the same question again. Sounds right, but it isn't right. It's like saying, you ask, why am I Muho? But in the parallel world, you would be asking the same question as well. But it's not the same question, because only this question is real. Or sometimes in Zen we say, it's also famous koan, every day is a good day, every day is a fine day. I think it was Mumo, I could be wrong, but it was some famous Zen master who on the 15th of the month said, don't tell me anything about the first 2 weeks of these months. I want to hear something about the second half of the month. And none of the students could answer. So Mumon said, in Japanese it would be Nichi Nichi Kore Kojitsu, which would be literally day, this fine day. So each day, every day is a fine day is a possible translation, but it's not what the koan is about. It's actually the wrong idea. There's only one day that's a fine day, and all the other days, they suck. All the other days in the history of the world suck. There's only one day. There's only one day that can be called a fine day. And miraculously, you're living that day right now. You're living that day right now. Or there's another koan in the Mumonkan, which is even Shakyamuni and Maitreya are his servants. Shakyamuni is the historical Buddha. Maitreya will be the next Buddha to arrive in the universe. So right now we're living in a time where there's no Buddha, no real Buddha. But according to the koan, right now there's a person somewhere, and even Shakyamuni and Maitreya are his servants. Who is this person? There's only one. You could say that anyone is that person. but that wouldn't be true. There's only one person. There's only one person. And the miracle is that that person is watching YouTube in this moment. Yeah, I will also paste it below this video, but if you want to know my koan, the way I phrase it, it's like this. Suppose there are two worlds, world A and world B. Both worlds look exactly the same. The same persons live in both worlds, say and do and think the same things. Muho is also the same Muho in both worlds. There's only one difference. In world A, Muho is me. In world B, Muho is not me. You should replace Muho for your name. You should replace Muho with the name that the person has who's watching YouTube in this moment to understand the question. Otherwise, it's not a real question for you. Except for myself, nobody could tell world A and world B apart. They are exactly identical. Even Muho could not tell the difference. Although I do know that I am Muho, Muho has no idea that he is me. Do I know which world I am living in, A or B? Yes, of course. I know it must be world A, otherwise this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't be here. If this was world B, I would not be here as this Muho, only Muho would be here, but Muho wouldn't be me. For me, only world A exists. If I see the world through Muho's eyes, and I do, it must be world A. Now, first question. Why am I Muho? Muho is the name I carry in world A, but I am not really Muho. I could be anybody else. I could be not in existence in the first place. Why am I Muho? Muho is the name I carry in world A, but I am not really Muho. Muho is not me in world B, for example. And I could be anybody else over there. For example, the person who's watching YouTube right now. And now comes the second question. The moment I ask myself why I am Muho, I realize that the question is asked by Muho. How come Muho is asking this question that he can't really understand because Muho doesn't know he's me? How come that he's the one who's asking the question? Muho would ask the same question world B as well, although he's not me over there. So although the question why I am Muho feels like it must be my question and not Muho's. Muho is the one who asking the question, even in a world where he isn't me, he's asking the question. How does Muho know that he is me? How can he ask the question that is really my question? And the final question is, who is asking this question? Who am I? Who is asking why am I Muho? Muho cannot ask the question because Muho does not know that he's me. I cannot ask the question because I have no mouth. Muho has a mouth, but that's not really my mouth. The same mouth is asking the same question in a world where I don't exist. How come this mouth is asking a question that is really my question? What makes it my question? What's the difference between this question that Muho is actually asking and the question that Muho would be asking in a different world where it wouldn't be my question? If I could move Muho's mouth, he would not ask the question in world B. What I'm saying here is basically, if I, who exist only in world A, am responsible for this question, then in world B the question wouldn't be asked, but that would contradict the thought experiment. In world B, he's asking the same question without it being my question. How's that possible? And where's the difference? So what is this question? Where does it come from? Who asks it? And is there an answer? Okay, so much for today. See you.